Hello Uganda, my name is Joshua Nyonshima and this is A Moment with Caesar Show on ERA TV. Today, we are speaking about authorized economic operators, looking at it in a profile of a person and an individual that is behind this activity. This innovation has been around for the last 10 years in Uganda and in the East African region. When we talk about someone that has moved into the world, explored World Customs Organization, East African Community Secretariat, that is someone that we have to really speak to and understand what is transpiring in this world. Today, we bring to you Martin, a person that is working with the URA and has been around for the last 2 decades. Martin, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
So let us move directly into your biography. Who literally is Martin?
Oh, well, Martin, if I may say, is now you can see a gentleman of 54 years. The last 27 of which I spent working here in URA. 27 years. Working in many departments. I started first in the domestic taxes, and then I crossed to customs later after a short while. But prior to joining URA, I joined the URA in 1997. But prior to that, I had a little stint with the bank. I worked in the bank for a short while, and of course that was after I had finished the university. Immediately I joined the bank. After 1 year, then I joined URA, and well, I would say in my private life, possibly a married person with children, and a person who enjoys staying with people around. Briefly, possibly just
staying with people. I think let us also move to the gist of the day, and like many people say, prestigious banking is to the banking sector, and now let us speak about the AEOs in business. What about authorized economic operators?
Yes, as you say, prestige banking is to the banks as AEO is to customs. That's the best comparison you can make. The AEO program is about recognizing a distinguished set of clients that we deal with. These clients are clients who have shown that they are compliant, and their compliance is not forced onto them, but it is voluntary. They come, they comply, and compliance here means they do the right thing according to the laws, the rules, the procedures, as is required to be. So this category of people are given that special recognition when they're doing business with us, and that special recognition comes in the form of what we call benefits. The benefits are simply things that allows them to do their business faster, with ease, in a relaxed way, and peace of mind. So that, and also to save money.
You say faster, relaxed, peace of mind. So this is something you've been in the game for the last 10 years of authorized economic operators. So what are those key highlights that you've really stood for, that you've achieved in this industry?
Well, in the industry, as maybe in the industry of authorized economic operator, as a person, well, I would say that I was part of the pioneer group that studied this document, because the Authorized Economic Operator is based on an international framework of standards, which is called the WCO, where WCO stands for World Customs Organization. WCO Safe Framework of Standards. When this document was adopted in 2005, it was a new thing in the world. So I would say I was one of the few people who was...
You're trying to tell the viewers of URA TV that you adopted it at the moment when it came into the world. So Uganda was one of the...
Yes, Uganda immediately in 2005 when it was adopted, Uganda decided to adopt. They wrote what we call a letter of intent to implement.
Okay.
So when the implementation started, I was one of the people who was chosen to be the experts to study this document, then adopt these standards to fit into our environment, and then start the implementation of this program. So that's what we started doing right away from 2006, 2007, 2009. We put up a project for implementation, and then we did some piloting until 2013. We then launched the program. We were among the pioneers in the world, particularly in our part of the world in Africa. Uganda became one of the first countries to implement this program. And based on that, we also became like the brains that that people could refer to in Africa, because after we implemented it, the world saw that there was some good success, and very many people looked at us and took the courage also to implement that program. Not only in Africa, but in some other countries around the world, where people looked at Uganda and then they say, now, if Uganda can do it, then we can also do it.
How does that feel to an individual or to this country, being a pioneer?
This is something very great, because this being a global standard, it really puts Uganda at a very high level. And because of that high level, some of us, in your introduction, you said I worked with the World Customs Organization, partly because when they needed experts to go and help support other countries to do the work, they looked around and they had to ask Uganda that, can you give us an expert? And that's how I ended up at the World Customs Organization. Then I was also attached to East African Community Secretariat as a technical person to manage the project for implementation of the same program. Because to give you a little background, at the time when that document or that set of standards was adopted at the world level, that was a time also when East African Community wanted to declare itself as a single customs territory.
Okay.
And they adopted a common law. That's the East African Community Customs Management Act 2004. It came into effect in 2005. So the commissioners then said, well, since we are going to be one territory, this program is about supply chain facilitation and security. So, for example, a trader who moves from Uganda has to pass through Kenya. You can be facilitated and helped to move up to the border of Uganda, let's say Malaba. But if you are not facilitated in Kenya, you don't gain the whole benefit. But if you get your facilitation right all the way to Mombasa, it comes with a bigger benefit. So at that time, the commissioners agreed that they should have this program implemented at a regional level, East African Community. So the World Customs Organization sent me to the East African Community Secretariat as a technical person to manage that project so that we can have a regional AEO program. So being the pioneers as such, that is part of the benefits. But if I may also speak further, as pioneers, it's one of the reasons why in 2018 we hosted a global conference here in Uganda to bring all the countries of the world.
Did you say all the countries?
Yes, they came for that global conference on the AEO program here in 2018.
If we could dive deeper into seeing some of the countries that were here in this country at that time, it could be good.
At that time, I would say all the countries we had retained: US, the all of European Union, Brazil, Japan, Korea, China, Nigeria, all the countries, because apparently almost all the countries have customs administrations that subscribe to and are members of the World Customs Organization. So this global conference is part of the World Customs Organization activity, and for you to be able to host it, you apply to World Customs Organization Secretariat in Brussels. Then they evaluate and see if you are fit to host. If you're not fit, they don't give you. I can give you the history that the application that we sent from Uganda and that of Dubai arrived at the same time.
Dubai and Uganda.
So challenges came in. They now were thinking, where do we give? Dubai, or they started looking at strong points.
I'm imagining that scenario where Uganda and Dubai are bidding for
the same thing.
The economic scales and the business, the interests of different countries. So yes. What happened?
Fortunately, at that time, I was in Brussels at WCO, and I remember the lady who was doing the evaluation. She was a Malaysian, but working also at the secretariat at WCO. She told me that, Martin, I have two very tight, that of Uganda and this one of Dubai. If I put the program in Dubai, I know that all the money that I require for the program is already provided for because Dubai has the money. But again, when we look at it from technical perspective, Uganda is better. So I told her, yes, go and be objective. Later on, she came and told me that, now I've got
You did convince her to bring it home.
Definitely, when I told her to be objective, we didn't want a situation where we would be looked at as people who were just lobbying for something which is there. But I told her, go and be objective. Why objective? Because definitely we were better than Dubai. So if she was objective, then she would consider us. But if she's not objective, then she would look the other way. Then she came back and told me that, I've also seen another thing. The letter said, okay, then now you have something to do. And indeed, they got the conference here.
Now,
but it is out of that.
From that conference, we've been part of the journey from the start in 2013 when all the activities began, and now today. Where are you seeing the authorized economic operators heading?
The program, what I see is, let me speak from the perspective of the number of players who are going to come on board. Popularity of the program is picking up. At the beginning, people did not realize its value, but now people are beginning to realize more applications are coming in, which we need to manage. Then,
before we leave that, when you speak about popularity, popularity goes with the numbers. So which numbers are we speaking about today, the past?
Oh, yes, of course, we started when we launched, we started with 10 operators, where we had to convince them to come on board and be part of the pilot. But right now, we have about 123 companies on board. And we are hoping that on the 25th, if we authorize more, we'll possibly be having close to 130 companies.
So,
the figures may look like it's not rising. As I'm telling you, the popularity is increasing, but always when we are bringing on board companies or the operators, as we call them, we are very conscious of quality of the people we bring on board and adhering to the standards that is provided. And because of that, you find that a number of applications come. The good thing with us is we generally don't reject an application if you are eligible to be on the program. We normally work with you until you meet the standards. So you find that we have like some companies which have been 10 years, we keep on moving with them. Some eventually raise their things and meet the standards, and then we authorize them. But there are some, we are still going on with them. The person will go and tell you that, let me first do this, I put the standards in place, then it might take him 2 or 3 years. Then he comes back again, then you start with him like that. Because it's a program for voluntary compliance. Somebody has to come voluntarily.
Come when you can.
Yeah.
If you're ready to comply, open books.
Yes.
Basically, that is what is happening. So now let us also look at this instance. You've been in it, but then if you are the man of authority taking over control over everything, what would you wish the AEOs to be like? Oh, putting it this way, what would you do more?
At that time, if I was the person in authority at that time, the main things which drives this program is there are 2 things: compliance and benefits. The operators are supposed to comply to the standards that we give them, but we also need to give them benefits. Sometimes giving benefits has been a bit difficult because you see this program comes about with what you may possibly call a paradigm shift. Because originally we, particularly but tax officials all over, they approach you from the point of distrust, that I cannot trust this person.
Okay.
But this program is telling you, when you approach a person, approach from a point of trust. First, start by trusting the person. So you find that because of that, there are some things that we call benefits, which you want to give to the client, but some people within the organization feel a bit saying, no, you are giving away too much.
Okay.
So somewhere it affects the quality of the program, and if we could enhance the benefits administration, then it would be, that's what. And then secondly, also issues that need to be, you see, in the modern day and age, everything has become digital. automated. So to some extent, our level of automation is not yet up to the standard where it should be. We have walked a bit slowly in that in the aspect of automation, automating the AEO processes. In other countries who moved a little faster, we found that they are now already fully automated. Ours has been a bit slow, definitely because of resources. Although we are looking there, we are hoping to on the 25th.
That reminds me of was it last week or early this week's event of the digital strategy of Uganda Revenue Authority, which was launched? Do you feel it will somehow benefit the program?
Yes. It fits into our program very well, the digital strategy, because we are part of that digital strategy of automating the AEO process, and the AEO ERIMS was one of the programs that was there being showcased. So we are hoping that if we could finish up the automation bit, it will help us in many ways. One, the process of application and processing, so that someone becomes an AEO becomes easier. And then two, the issue of benefits, how to give out benefits, how to recognize, and then how to do monitoring, evaluation. Because when somebody comes on board, sometimes better to check. Okay? You want to be born again? Yes, I want to be born again. Okay, you go to the church. But then you find some people do what they call backsliding.
I think this leads us to the element of AEOs. You said it is world over, it's a program of the world. So the Authorized Economic Operators of Uganda, if Uganda authorizes one, do they gain those benefits in East Africa, Africa, and the rest of the world, or it is only limited to here?
All right. If possibly I don't know if it would be good that I first give you the background that led to this concept of the Authorized Economic Operator. Then I will go into that question you asked. You see, this idea came about when customs all over the world realized one thing, that there is tremendous growth in trade, which is okay and what we want, but the resources that is available for us, the regulators, to regulate trade is not increasing at the same rate that trade is increasing. Trade was increasing in terms of volume, speed, and complexity of trade. That one maybe I will explain to you later, the issue of complexity. So for you to be able to regulate it well, you need to match that, the speed, the complexity, all that. Otherwise, you'll find that we as customs, we have mandates, for example, to make sure that one of them is protecting society, collecting government revenue, and facilitating trade, and others. We also enforce, like for example, certain laws, like trade laws. For example, if they say we don't want, just an example, government might say no, to allow the local dairy industry to grow, we are putting tax on imported milk. The person who makes sure that that law or that policy is implemented is customs. We have that mandate. Now, the problem is that if you are too thin or the resources you have is so little, then you cannot control everything or check everything. In the process, things start passing you without you knowing. That is how you end up with things which you're saying. Fake goods are on the what? In the market. counterfeits are on the market, contrabands are on the market, and smugglers like to smuggle things where there's restriction because that's where the money is. And yet, you as customs, you don't have all the resources to do this work. Now, even if you had the resources, sometimes because of complexities of these things, you cannot check everything. It becomes so difficult that you want to check each and everything. A container load, for example, of supermarket items, you may find there are more than 70 different items.
So now, when we cross over to this specific point, are the AEOs of Uganda benefiting from the world, or they are only limited to Uganda?
Yes, that's where I was saying that because of that, because of the issue of illegal goods being moved across borders, that's why the concept came that why don't we identify low-risk clients that move along the supply chain, put them aside, and facilitate them to move faster, so that the few resources we have available to us, we concentrate on those we think are not very compliant. So now once, and this being a global program, of course each country is supposed to adapt from the global standards to implement in its local environment. But the moment you are said to be an AEO like in Uganda, it should give you leverage. If you go to another country, some level of trust is put into you. Now, the main thing that we do as customs now is when we go into what we call mutual recognition arrangements. Like, for example, now Uganda signed with China. So if a Ugandan company goes to trade in China and says, I am an AEO, then the Chinese administration should recognize that and offer him benefits. The benefits will be in the form of less customs checks, or what we call controls. Now, when you become an AEO in Uganda, therefore, you become what they call a reliable trader. Even if we don't have a signed agreement with that particular country, if they see the fact that they see that this is an AEO, means customs administration or URA has checked that company and we trust that company. So gives you leverage the other side for the other people also to trust you. So the benefit that cuts across is that benefit of trust. And many times the companies or people who operate across border or over several countries will tell you that that benefit of trust is even more important than any other when you cross borders.
The benefit of trust. That is so interesting about the authorized economic operators. You've been in the game 27 years now in URA. You've told us the story of authorized economic operators. So right now we would want also to be specific and want to see some of those moments, the good times, the bad times that you really focused on, that really happened to you in the URA. Get to us.
The good times and the bad times, definitely they have to be there. The good times, of course, starting right away from the time when we joined the organization, and as a happy young man who has just got a good job, and you feel very good, and one good thing with this organization is that it has always been a pro staff kind of approach. We worked very well. Maybe challenges have always been there, small things, But I would say in my case, the biggest challenge came like in 2004 when they had to do restructuring and we had to reapply for our jobs again.
And you really survived this.
It was really a survival because
So what's so essential about surviving this? Because this was a moment where majority of the people had to lose it all. Many went and
yes, many people had to lose jobs. They went and of course some new people came. Others were lucky, they rose up faster and all that. But the anxiety that came at that time made it a very difficult moment. But after that, changes are always good. Things have always changed for the better because all the administrations, I would say, have always tried to change for the better. But when I look at it, at the time when we joined, that was a very difficult time compared to right now. For example, the parking yard where we in Makawa here at the main building which is now housing the customs document processing center and other offices. At that time, they had just covered the roof a bit, and the roofs were also, there were holes all over. The floor was pre-made of where they poured hardcore, and it was never finished. Remember, these were done in the 70s. The place was almost like a bush. It was looking very bad. But
now
we worked through that until now.
So that brings us to a perspective of like what we want to know. We want you to tell out people there, the career people who are aspiring to move and also have like 27 years in the industry, work and be like you, or even be more greater. Like the Bible says that the ones that will come before you will be greater than you. What would you tell them?
Oh, yes. First of all, working in URA is a very good thing that I can tell you, and every young person should aspire to work in it. One, why? Because many reasons. One, the pay is good. That's number one. Number two, the kind of service you offer, it's a very unique service.
Which service?
To the taxpayer. You offer service to help the taxpayer meet its obligation of paying tax. It's so unique, and it gives you that pride. That
I've listened to the Commissioner General several times on TV, in the newspapers here, be saying developing Uganda together, raising revenue for national development. Is that why you say it is?
Yes, exactly. Because when you go and see that, yes, out of my own effort, they have built that hospital, a road has been constructed, a number of things is being done. People can earn salary because I can collect this money and pass it over. Security is provided, all that. When you come to that realization, first you get satisfaction, and it gives you that sense of responsibility that I'm working for my nation. I think there's no better work than that. And this organization, when we work in it, you work in it as a shareholder because you are also a Ugandan. But above all, the conditions that they give, opportunity for career growth is there, and then this career growth is supported by things like trainings, because one thing I can tell you is URA has always emphasized professionalism. That means people are trained to be professional. Sometimes, of course, the work involves rough outdoor work, like when I started, I was in enforcement. We used to do like night surveillance operation. We go sometimes on the lake. We try to intercept smugglers and all that. But all this enriches your experience of work. So I think it's an organization that I've worked in, and I don't regret my 27 years. It has been full of, I would say, adventures.
So interesting, 27 years. I would really feel I should serve in an environment and serve for my country for 27 years. We are about to conclude this show, but then to like the business community, you've served with them. What would you tell someone who wants to invest his money in Uganda?
Oh yes, for someone who will invest his money in Uganda, when you're looking for investment, you need to look for opportunities to reap your money back. And Uganda currently offers a very good opportunity for investors. Why? Because Uganda has always adopted those good practices that should help traders, and we are the focus is now that the economic growth of the country should be led, should be achieved through promotion of trade for development. So any investor who is coming is definitely going to, because there are a lot of policies and practices that should allow the investor invest smoothly and gain back. And policies, programs like the Authorized Economic Operator comes in very handy. In fact, it is one of the programs which even under the WTO is recognized for trade facilitation. You are going to be facilitated when you are doing your trade, and that reduces your cost of doing business and will help you to realize return on your investment faster. So we would really encourage investors who want to invest to be free and really come and invest in Uganda.
I really did not ask you this, but I love cracking jokes. But this ain't a joke. Though I'm saying, like, what do you really like? Are you a fan of music, sports, games, something that you've done?
Okay, I at my young age, generally I'm a fan of sports. I'm at my two sports particularly that I like a lot. Football, I like watching because I cannot
play.
The player that
sure. The one that amazes you when you're out of the taxi.
When I'm the player which to me, my two people that I will always would have wanted to watch is, of course, Ronaldo, because of his unique skill, and then Messi also used to be very good because I like
the contrasting players of the world. Ronaldo, Messi. So is there something that you feel we have left out, and then we tackle it as we say bye to the viewers of A Moment with Caesar?
Well, we have apparently covered a very wide topic in a very short period of time, but what I would like to say possibly is that people who are maybe tuned into this program get closer to URA and understand more, because the Authorized Economic Operator program is one of the programs or the initiatives that is meant to reward the taxpayer. But I know there are so many other programs. The biggest maybe challenge we have is that there is still that gap between Caesar and the payer, the taxpayer, so that many people they feel that it's not good to go near But I always tell people that the taxman is the person you should always keep very close to you, because when you keep him close, you realize that he's not dangerous. But when you keep him very far away, the day he comes to your door, you feel that he's a bad person. So
this is so interesting. The taxman is a person that you should keep close to you, your business, and don't let him go away. If you get him away from your business, then you're getting your business closer to destruction. That is in the words of Martin Ojok from the Authorized Economic Operators. I didn't tell you, he is a supervisor in the Authorized Economic Operators, that is in the Customs for Uganda Revenue Authority. And we had him today. Martin, a pleasure having you.
thank you very much, and pleasure being on your program, and we hope the people who are watching this program will benefit from this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.